Well, hello, spooky friends. I visited Mount Hope Cemetery in Toronto. It was built at the end of the 19th century when the Archdiocese of Toronto was faced with a capacity issue at St. Michael's Cemetery. So land was acquired north of Toronto, where Yonge and Eglinton is now, and Mount Hope was established. It was consecrated on July 9th, 1898, by the Roman Catholic Archbishop John Walsh, and the first burial occurred March 27th of 1900. So at this point I hear my name being called and the camera shuts off. I didn't touch it. I was literally holding it in place. You can see it just kind of stops. That's the end of the film. And I don't know who called my name, and I looked around and I waited for a bit. You know, if someone calls your name, they probably are familiar with you and you turn around and then they say, "Hi, how are you?" But there was no one looking at me, and the workers were too far away to have been calling my name that clearly. So I don't really know what to think about that, but I continued on. So I've already heard my name being called. Got it on camera, so I'll have to check that later. And there's some kind of birds squawking at me. You can hear dogs barking. There is a dog park just kind of down that way, but it's a very quiet kind of area. I'm gonna take a look at these graves. All these are really old. Like, they don't even have the dates on them for the most part. The first one was born in 1861, and that's been cleaned, so this is pretty well maintained. There are over 160,000 people buried here. So some really notable burials here would be Francis King Clancy, who was a hockey player and a coach for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Interestingly, notable members of the Boyd gang were buried here. Lenny Jackson in an unmarked grave, and Steve Suchan, who was buried under the name Val Lesso. They were 1930s bank robbers who were notorious in Toronto and Kingston. They served time in both the Don Jail and the Kingston Penitentiary, among other places. So it's easy to say that there's a mixed bag of who's who when it comes to who's been buried here. I went in without any knowledge of who to speak to or who was buried here. I wanted to know if the cemetery was in fact haunted, if reports of shadow people and being touched or being pushed were real. And I think I found a little bit of evidence, but I want you to be the judge. I always get so weirded out when people drive by that I shut the camera off and I just act like I'm taking pictures, because how do you explain what you're doing in a cemetery? This is just like one corner of this like massive cemetery. We're looking for, obviously, like, these are really interesting. They're really small. So 1922. Usually when you see that little dove that you see at the top of there, I knew right away that this was a child. So you can see 1909 to September of 1911. So this would have been someone who died in their innocence, which is really sad. This would be another example of that. I can't quite read the bottom, but some are still remembered, which is beautiful. So these might have been all children. They look really young. Most of them are very young. This part of the cemetery is quite sad. Whereas you can see, I mean, these are all much larger. I just got tongue-tied, much larger. There's another one of those beautiful Celtic, just stunning. Just trying to keep my voice down when I'm in the cemetery. I know that the dead can't hear me. Well, not my real voice, but they can see me. I just like to keep my voice down because there might be people here mourning and they don't want to hear some idiot clamoring on. So if you do visit a cemetery, please try your best to be non-intrusive. Try to be as quiet as possible. You know, act like you don't exist while you're here. This is really beautiful. This Jesus right here is gorgeous. car drove by again. I turned my camera off. There's also like some workers working off in the distance, so it's gonna ruin all the sound on this shot. This is gorgeous. How could you hide this? Oh my goodness. Absolutely stunning Cosgrave. Here's another one of his massive monuments. So this was most definitely a child. This is something I'm starting to spot with graves, is that when there's a little angel, yeah, this child was only 6 years old. I'm sorry, Albert. Something I've learned. Oh, Burns. Any relation? Susan Ryan. I wonder if she's related to those Ryans. Cemetery, family friendships. We all have friends in their past. Penny Legion? That's a cool ass name. That's badass. Oh, this is really neat. This is a reverend. This is absolutely stunning. Oh, I can take pictures. Absolutely beautiful. This is Sisters of Service. We have served. So these are all sisters. They're all nuns. Please don't harm me. What a beautiful display. These ladies all died in September. They all died November, December. Very stunning. A nice display for the sisters. guys, it's me, Courtney. Can we just pause for a second, even though we're in the middle of a big spooky cemetery, and look at these fall colors? Just love it. Just kidding, I'm not Courtney. Where am I? I'm gonna go, kind of like dip down there. I'm gonna see if I can hide and pull out the, I hear people talking. I really hope it's real people. Oh. What? My phone was locked in my pocket. Okay. Interesting. I don't even know what was playing. I locked it, I swear to God. I totally thought that it would be sweater season. My mistake. It's a little bit warm. But I'm gonna use ITC2 today. Ignore that, it just makes creepy noises. So there are some pretty famous people buried here, but I don't want to focus on that. I want to hear the stories of people we don't know about. We're just sort of introducing ourselves to the cemetery. Get to know the inhabitants, learn a little bit more about them. Avoid people coming and talking to me. Meet the ghosts. It's a very cool thing. Oh, this is really beautiful. I mean, sad, but beautiful, right? Oh, I got angels again. Okay, so this isn't ideal to sit, but we're gonna sit for a minute. Okay, just sit for a minute with my friends. Pull out the spirit box. See who talks to us. I have to pretend to take pictures again. There's some people coming. They have to leave below the day that I come here. Oh. I'd like to know if anyone has any stories to share. I'm here to listen to your stories. Do you want to tell me your name? Ooh. When they get closer, I'm going to have to turn this down. The only problem is you have to speak English to me or French. I don't really speak any other languages fluently, so if you're going to speak, it does need to be English for the sake of speaking to me. That sounded like heaven. What's your name? Oh, that voice is scary. Listen, there's probably a lot of you here. I've got mask face. I would love to speak with you. I would love to know what messages you have. I have this little device here, and you can see it. I know you can, because you told me before. One of you came through the spirit box, they're listening intently, and asked me to come here, and I'm wondering why. Why have you asked me to come to this specific graveyard? There's a bee. You don't want help? Is that what she said? Well, I know that you have a... Whoop. Dropped it. I know you have a strong faith with God. Does that help you? I think like my nerves of like someone coming up and being like, what the hell are you doing here, make me kind of like not really able to channel well here. But it's also my first visit. So, see my new friends? That guy's just like wandering around the graveyard like me. Maybe I should go talk to him and be like, are you just like chilling there? Or... Now that I'm not wandering around, the temperature's changing. That is not indicative of ghosts. It's also like the afternoon is aging. So I hear some kind of... I'm not really hearing direct words. So like, listen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to meditate while I leave the spirit box on. I'm going to meditate. And hopefully that will help whoever wants to connect. So what we're going to do, we'll put this down here this way. Okay. Put this next to it. So you guys can hear the spirit box. We'll tilt it this way. Go ahead. Speak through this little box. If there's any messages you'd like me to pass on. If you have any messages you want to give to me, now's the time. Your name was really, or your sound was really clear. Do you want to tell me who you are? Just tell me your name. Do you enjoy the sounds of the city where you rest? Does it amaze you to see a skyline like that? Because many of you, when you passed, you didn't see that skyline. All those big towers now? What do you think of those towers? There's like a really strong male presence where I'm sitting. Like, he's like an older, kind of like, almost like Italian looking guy. Yeah. So you see me and I see you. Holy crap. I literally just saw what I thought was a person right there. And there was no one there. I saw a person standing over next to that grave. Thought it was someone else, but it wasn't. Okay, that sounds fun. I have no idea what he said. Again, I just saw that person. Holy shit, maybe I got it on camera. Like literally just underneath that red tree. Okay, I'm gonna go. It's very nice to meet you. I'm going to do some more research and listen to you, and we'll figure out who you are. Okay. Talk to you soon. Goodbye. So I was reading stories while I was sitting here really quietly for a minute, about things that people have seen in the cemeteries. Now, Mount Pleasant Cemetery, this is the Catholic side. Mount Pleasant Cemetery, which I've been to before, the one I got locked in. Apparently there's a story that one of the workers that has their little like tractor machines, like kind of like a golf cart, allegedly an unknown force shoved him off of it. There's a lot of unusual noises that people have heard. Like I heard my name clear as day called. And when I turned around, no one was looking at me. The workers were like looking at each other. Like maybe one of them knew me and called me, but I doubt it. Like I don't really know that many people. There have been strange lights, electrical issues, and a lot of like really interesting paranormal activity. So I doubt I've caught any today, but just as an introduction to myself. Here's my new friend. Cheers, guys. So that was the journey into Mount Hope Cemetery. I would love to know your thoughts. Please put them in the comment section down below. Also be sure to like this video if you liked it, and subscribe if you're interested in more history and paranormal investigation. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.